Hello and welcome back to That's Metal, particular channel here at YouTube, and welcome to another album review. Today I am reviewing the third full-length album from, of course, Snakeyes, and it's titled Evil Must Die, and it was released back on March 28th of this year. And it was, of course, released independently, that at least here again, according to Metal Archive, since I'm on here. Now, again, this is their third full-length album. Their very first full-length album was released in 2015, and it was titled Ultimate Sin. However, I did review their second album, Metal Monster, back in 2017, actually. I was going to say 2016, which would have been false, but it was 2017. I had reviewed it then, or actually it was like during November or early December when I had reviewed that album. It was, of course, upon a request. And I actually kind of forgot who was the person that actually had requested me to review that album, because by that time I didn't know who Snakeyes were. But upon when I listened to that album and when I reviewed it, it was a very good album from these guys, and definitely it made a fan out of me. And again, these guys are based out of Spain and were formed in 2013. I think I all kind of said that in that video, so I really don't need to say too much as far as their backstory or anything they did before. I just want, but I did kind of run in, at least a brief run through. So, since, of course, 2017's Metal Monster, what is there anything different with this one? If anything, this is in similar style, but it's a little more, I guess you could say, more expanding. But at least with these 10 songs, again, it's about 10 songs and clocks in at 47 minutes and 28 seconds. And what you get with this album, again, doesn't completely stray too far from, of course, the previous album, Metal Monster, but it does add in a little more oomph, I would say, to this. I mean, of course, I do have to kind of bring this up. They do draw a lot of influence from, of course, Judas Priest's most last album, Firepower. There is a lot of that influence that is definitely being heard on this album, which, again, not a bad thing. It definitely shows that Judas Priest's Firepower definitely left an impact on the metal scene, because this album, again, Snakeyes definitely seems to be one of the few bands that definitely took a lot of inspiration from that album. I mean, just from the opening song on this album, War Machine, which of course begins with a little bit short intro, basically like what more of a World War II era, intro and so on, sample piece. It just goes into the song, and it has a lot of that almost necromancer kind of feel to it with this song. But it's done in a way that doesn't completely rip off that song. It still is a great, solid, molten metal song. It's just fucking great. It's a great molten metal track, and again, it has a lot of that anthemic feel to some of it. It's just a great track. And again, it falls again with the other two songs here. Again, The Evil Dead and New World Order. But since I am definitely running down at least here, to kind of shorten up this review, at least my standout songs on this album. I mean, again, I could also definitely say that, at least from War Machine to, of course, track number 10, All Gods Are Dead, that, again, it's a great fucking heavy molten metal album. But I definitely have to pick out at least some standout tracks, at least for this review. So again, one of my standout tracks, of course, was one I just talked about, which is War Machine. But I also wanted the two of my the songs that really do stick at me are definitely the two very melodic and more anthemic metal pieces on this album, being Lose Control and Dead Don't Ride. Lose Control, on the other hand, again, draws a lot of influence from, of course, the song Never the Heroes from Firepower. However, it's not a complete rip-off of that song, but it has that same feel. And again, if you like that fucking song off of Firepower, you'll dig this song too. I mean, but most of these songs on here, I mean, if you dug an album such as Firepower, this is a great album, or a great companion piece even to that album, and that's more of a praise for me, because that was a great album from Judas Priest, and this is a great album from Snakeyes. Other standout tracks being I Am Evil. I mean, this song has like a 18-second sample track, very kind of, again, more religious feel, at least to fit with the lyrical content and the piece behind this song. This is, of course, is a great heavy galloping speed metal monster. It's a great track too off this album. It's definitely, again, it's why I have this as a standout song. And of course, another one being, of course, Sign of Our Times, which again has some great choice leads and everything, and great vocals as well on this one. But I think also one of the most unique songs on this album is the album closer, and it's also the longest song on this album. It's All Gods Are Dead, and it's and again, this is the longest song on this album. It basically clocks in at 6 minutes and 42 seconds. Again, most of these songs don't even go past at least the 440 or 450 mark. This song is the only one that ever goes past that. Again, why it is the longest, but it's a slow, heavy, brooding number on this album, and again, and I can draw some comparisons to even let's say some of the heavy material off of an album such as Fallen from Striper. It's got that heavy feel. I mean, or even some of the more slower, heavier songs off the more modern Saxon albums. I mean, I'm not going to go on and say this has a Black Sabbath feel due to its brooding nature. It's just done in a more similar way that you would expect from the more recent material from Judas Priest, Saxon, at times the more really modern stuff or more recent stuff from Striper. But it still is a great way to end the album, again, after all the 9 fucking heavy molten metal pieces that you got with this album. But it's definitely a great way that ends this album. So again, 10 songs here for this, and again, it's just top quality, solid metal with the sound, just solid traditional heavy metal that at times borders on at times speed metal, and at times a little bit of power metal here and there, due to, of course, the style. And in many ways, I even feel this could almost be a progression, and it definitely shows where they're kind of going after an album such as Metal Monster. But so, with all that, my rating, it's a 9.40 out of 10. Again, I almost feel this might be right now so far probably one of the best albums right now from Snakeyes. This is definitely a step in a more broader direction in terms of their writing and their musicianship and so on. This is definitely a step even further and expands on the stuff of an album such as Metal Monster, but it goes even further. And I think this is definitely, I mean, if you're still not familiar with this band, again, with the aforementioned albums and bands that I had mentioned in this video, again, like the most recent stuff from Judas Priest, Saxon, and Striper, if you're fans of those material from those bands, you'll definitely dig Evil Must Die from these guys. This is a great modern molten heavy metal album, again, from start to finish. So with that, again, this has been released independently. Again, if you ever come across this there on the internet, which again, there are places maybe like Amazon, eBay, might have this on there. Maybe even other distros might have this album as well. Again, if you dig this, if it's just something you definitely dig, which I know I definitely recommend this album to you, you will not be disappointed with this album. It's definitely an album I definitely recommend supporting. So at that, I hope you all enjoyed this Heavy Thrash at Sam out, and I'll see you all later. Take care, everyone.